So the first division of the Sovereign's escort, found by the lifeguards leading the coach, and in front of them, way out of shot now, the King's Troop of Royal Horse Artillery, and at the very front, the mounted bands of the Household Cavalry, which we'll see later on. So it is a long procession here, and behind the state coach, after the Prince of Wales and the Princess Royal, there are various members of the household, and then another standard party, the Sovereign Standard of the Blues and Royals, being carried, and the 3rd and 4th divisions of the Sovereign's escort, and then 2 more gun detachments. So it's a great procession that people are seeing here.
Well, it is no big news that Britain is a divided country, divided by class, divided by privilege, divided by wealth, and divided by culture. There are not many people that will openly say that they think that class division and inherited privilege are good things. Few would say that no social mobility is a bad thing. Few would say that the poorest should not have a chance to climb the ladder, achieve ambitions, and have a better life. But those same people will say that we need the monarchy. The fact that the monarchy blatantly enshrines in our constitution and our society the principle of equality does not seem to trouble them. The monarchy stands out as a massive symbol of our class-based, privilege-based, wealth-based society. Its malign influence permeates British society from top to bottom. I have only ever heard one argument put forward in defence of the British medieval monarchical system, apart from the trite one, that it encourages tourism, which really does not deserve discussion. It would be impossible to argue for the monarchy from basic principles, and so people put forward this supposedly pragmatic argument for maintaining selection of our head of state by dynastic bloodline. This argument is simply, it works. It works, but in what sense does it work? In making Britons see themselves as citizens, not subjects, aware of their constitutional rights and of the constitution they live under? In preventing the government at Number 10 from forcing divisive, faddish ideas on the British people? In terms of reducing the sense of exclusion for young people living in deprived areas? In terms of representing the nation to foreign heads of state who need to speak to somebody who has real power, not a figurehead? In holding up family values by its own conduct? There is not a single solitary sense in which the monarchy can be said to work. On the contrary, there are many ways in which it works to make our society more and more dysfunctional. And it is anti-democratic, not just in the simple sense that dynastic bloodline denies us the opportunity to elect our head of state, but also because all the institutions of state are there to serve it. The monarchy and not the people. All the great offices of state are formally entitled Her Majesty's this or Her Majesty's that. No mention of the ownership by the people or duty to them. It is said that Britain has no written constitution. That is not altogether true, for the explanation of how the constitution operates is plastered all over the place in signs and letterheads everywhere, and you cannot fail to miss this. The British Constitution is wonderfully simple. Everything belongs to the monarch and is in the service of the monarch. Let's just look at some of the items on its inventory. Her Majesty's Treasury, Her Majesty's Armed Forces, Her Majesty's Revenues and Customs, Her Majesty's Government, Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition, Her Majesty's Court Service, Her Majesty's Government Security, Her Majesty's Land Registry, Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary, Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Schools, Her Majesty's Tribunal Service, Her Majesty's Civil Service, Her Majesty's Prison Service, Her Majesty's Secretary of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs. Even the expression Her Majesty's Subjects, that is, you and me by the way, continues to be used in British legal discourse. And of course Her Majesty is also Supreme Governor of the Church of England. No written constitution indeed. There is your written constitution. It is not written up in some obscure statutory document. It is emblazoned all around us in public places and on our own special private communications with the state. And remember, all this ownership is not by virtue of the law. It is not that the Queen is above the law. She is the law. All constitutional, civic and criminal law is embodied in her person and only hers. Of course, it might be said this is theoretical because the Queen does not actually exercise all her powers and rights of ownership or control. But the point is, this structure whereby everything points to the holder of the bloodline, means that our political and civil society operates in a completely different space from those operating according to well-organized, legally constituted, modern republican principles. The principal effect of having all state institutions coalescing in the monarch is that the party who controls Parliament effectively controls everything. In spite of his or her cosy weekly chats with the Queen, the Prime Minister effectively usurps all her powers. If you substituted Prime Minister David Cameron's for Her Majesty's in the titles of the institutions I mentioned before, it would be very close to the truth about the real way the British state operates. We could say Prime Minister David Cameron's Treasury, Prime Minister David Cameron's Armed Forces, Prime Minister David Cameron's Revenues and Customs, Prime Minister David Cameron's Civil Service, and so on and so on. Okay, the civil service and the courts may enjoy a measure of independence, but this is only at the PM's say-so and forbearance. And since the Thatcherite revolution of the 1980s, that forbearance, we have seen time and time again, has been less and less exercised. No Prime Minister since Thatcher has been able to resist interfering with the Treasury, the Revenue Service, the Civil Service, the Public Services, the Constitution, and so on. All that because what is normally Her Majesty's becomes de facto the Prime Minister's. In 1995, the well-known economist and political commentator Will Hutton published one of the few works in the last 20 years on what used to be called political economy. Political economy means putting together all the various forces and tendencies in society and in the economy and seeing how they blend together for good or ill. It's no easy task. Hutton's book, The State We're In, was a masterpiece and became an instant bestseller. In spite of a period of 17 years since its publications, its judgments need little in the way of qualification. In fact, the changes that have happened since its publication make its messages even more pertinent. Hutton tells us that the Constitution is a central determinant of how a country is governed. Britain's unwritten Constitution can be defined in one sentence. Whatever the Crown assents to in Parliament is law. The sense of belonging to a successful national product has all but disappeared. He continues, an unwritten constitution organised around the principle that the law is whatever the monarch assents to in Parliament has no clear democratic rules. Monarchical power has passed to the majority party in the House of Commons. There are no limits to the ascender's capacity to take power away from the regions and local authorities. The Prime Minister and the Cabinet is held only nominally accountable to Parliament. There is no formal independence of the judiciary. Britain needs a republican attitude to its culture and institutions. Implanting republican tradition and institutional structure will mean stripping away prerogative powers and the hereditary principle, which are both aspects of the continuing royal influence on the Constitution. Hutton had his finger on the pulse in 1995, as did the Sex Pistols much earlier in 1977, even if they were a bit premature when they sang that there is no future for the monarchy. The Democratic Republican Party is the only party to have a programme to correct the faults that Hutton identified and bring closer the angry but entirely justified and morally correct dream of youth as expressed by the Sex Pistols.
up this evening, fat, but I fucking just lost 15 pounds. I'm fat, 50 and back. Unbelievable, I'm 51 and you lot sound more knackered than I do. I'm only half a century young. It's been a good fucking century though. Thank you. Couldn't do